Томас на связи. Hi.
Hello.
Hello, Thomas.
Hello, hello.
Thank you for your double communication with us and excuse us.
Yeah.
Okay. What an interesting and very beautiful
Background.
background, yes. It is the word think, yes? Think, oh, yes. Very beautiful composition, colorful composition. So
I'm preparing for another conference, so they gave me a background.
okay. If I caught rightly, we have 30 minutes, yes? Do we have 30 minutes?
I have more time than that if you need
it. Okay, it's good. We appreciate. Thomas, so it is very interesting. From our side and from your side, we have our previous Zoom talk the day after Elon Musk presented Neuralink. And this Zoom conference we have the day after Apple presentation. What do you think about Apple presentation? Was it excited to you?
The Apple presentation, it wasn't so exciting. There wasn't any breakthrough technology. The one thing that I was very, very impressed with was with the Apple Watch that is able to test the amount of oxygen in your blood. That was really impressive. Not just impressive that they could do it, but impressive because of it will probably help a lot of people in terms of finding out, catching diseases and conditions before it gets really bad. And just by having a watch on, we're going to be able to foresee, catch you before you get really sick. So I thought that one little technology announcement probably going to save a lot of lives. I was really, really happy with that one. Everything else was just tweaks. I didn't see anything amazing, but I thought that was really good.
So when I was seeing this presentation, I thought about you, and it was my thought. What will Thomas say, and how he will estimate this presentation and this innovation of Apple in 2020 and 2021?
Now that they're not the innovation company they were. No.
Okay.
No, nowhere near it.
Why do you think so?
Well, that's easy. No Steve Jobs.
Yes. And they lost not only Steve Jobs, it was their circumstances, but they lost John, oh my God.
Yeah.
Our director.
Yeah. The people
about whom I say.
Yeah. You need to have innovation. You need to have people who challenge everything and who fight everything and who see the world completely, utterly different. So a truly, really good innovative person is a person you don't want to be married to because they will drive you crazy. Because you want to be married to somebody who's stable, somebody who says yes, somebody who's reliable. But an innovative person will always question and will always change their answer because they're always pushing, always questioning, undoing. And I haven't seen that in Apple in a very long time.
Okay.
It's a shame. I still believe in Apple. But that one announcement on that technology, that was, I don't know if that was innovative. That was a very nice technology to add. So that's not, I guess it's technological innovation, but it's going to save people's lives. And I think that was a huge announcement in that regard. That was fantastic that they made that announcement.
Sure. Thomas, we have some questions. We have some questions for you. And the first question that interested for our audience, what functions are assigned to artificial intelligence today?
What does that question mean?
So, how can we deal with artificial intelligence in business, in education, in our ordinary life? What is the artificial intelligence for ordinary people, for ordinary person, and for a businessman?
It's well, first of all, if you talk about AI, artificial intelligence, like it's something separate, it'll always seem to be intimidating and something, what is this thing, right? It's not so complicated. AI is already embedded in so many of our different devices. I think I said in the last video call we had together that when you have when you take out bread and you want to toast your bread in a toaster oven, you know, you put the bread in, you push it down. The timer that's is not just a timer, but is also sensing how brown your bread is. That's AI. Is your toaster scary? No, it's a toaster, right?
You're right.
So my point is that we already have AI embedded in our personal private life, and we have it in our work life. So the way people should see AI is this thing as if for the first time in my life, I can get the answer to so many important questions that I have in my private life or in my work life. I could actually get that answer, or I can come closer to the ultimate answer. That's all AI is. It's a means by which looking at so many different pieces of data, literally millions of different pieces of data that never have been relatable before, are actually, if you connect all those 1 million different dots together, it'll actually give you an answer. That's the exciting part of AI. We're going to get answer to some crazy questions, simple questions, important questions, you know. Let's go to personal life. Who's my ultimate match, right? Who's the person I should be with? In my business life, how can I make my first $1 million, right? And all these questions are obtainable to get close to that ultimate answer because you can feed it in all sorts of data. This is the most exciting time there is. We're getting, you know, you can get the answer to your question. That's exciting. And also with AI, the languages are becoming irrelevant, which means that AI is able to speak so many different languages. So I see now in another year or two, it will be able to speak almost, I won't say all languages, that's quite complex, but the most popular languages, over 50% of them, will be able to do that. So, I mean, we're getting there. Don't you, I mean, ever since you went to school, what was it? You were tested in school to get the right answer. So that's been like the ultimate headache in life. Here comes AI. You're going to get the answer to your question.
It's true.
Yeah.
Thomas, in our previous dialogue, you named artificial intelligence. So you separated the attitude to artificial intelligence as for parents, yes? Mm-hmm. As for parent and our attitude as children for artificial intelligence. Yeah, yeah. What is your mind? What is your thought?
What do I think about that? Well,
so we have to have an attitude to the artificial intelligence as for our partner. Yes?
Okay.
And what is your mind?
I see what I mean by, so let me try to rephrase what I said. I see AI like a baby, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And AI is your baby. How do you want to raise your baby? Right? In your house is your rules. You raise your baby the way you want. Nobody can tell you how to raise your baby, right? And in your house, your baby has, your child, let's say it's a child, not baby, your child for breakfast, it has some carrots, it has some apples, it has an egg, you know, and it drinks water. Very healthy, right? Another person with their child, their AI, they'll say, no, for breakfast, you could have cereal with all as much sugar as you want. You could have chocolate cookies, right? My point is that AI is reflective of the user. Your child is reflective of the parent. You are the parent to the AI. AI is only as good as the data you give it. Your child is only as healthy as the food you give him. You see how the correlation is so similar? So with AI, you have to give it really good data. If you give it bad data, if you give it data that you haven't checked to make sure it's consistent, data that maybe you got it from the public domain and you don't even know where those sources of data came from. Would you give your kid food where you don't know where the food came from? You just found some food in the street and you just gave it to your kid? Of course you wouldn't do that. Would you give it's not smart to give your AI data that you just pulled off the internet off of some website, say, hey, that's great data, right? So basically what I'm saying is AI is like a child and you're the parent. So make sure you treat your AI well, give it all the right things, give it good data, and it will in return be a wonderful child and they'll give you a great answer. That's my correlation. And I'm trying to make people see that AI is not scary. It's a little kid. Just give it some good food and an Oreo cookie every once in a while.
It is a responsible approach, yes.
Yes.
And is this any harm in artificial intelligence?
So the specific answer to that is no, but I know where you're getting to. So here we go. AI in itself is not going to harm you, right? Look, a gun in itself laying on a table is not going to harm you. It's the user, right? Obviously. Mm-hmm. AI, if you give AI a challenge and it comes up with a solution, destroy the whole world or hurt people, is it the AI's fault? No. It was the person who gave it the challenge. If there's a gun laying on the table, somebody picks it up and uses it, is the gun's fault? No, it's the person who used it. It's the same rationale and thinking. AI in itself is just software and code. But if you give it a challenge to answer a question, it will answer that question, and the answer may not be positive. And the example I like to use is, if you ask AI, we want to make sure the world is we stop climate change, we'll stop global warming, we'll stop deforestation, we'll stop polluting. How do you do that? And the AI's answer may be, well, let's get rid of all the humans, right? Is that a good answer or a bad answer? The AI did its job and it answered the question, but it's not the best answer for human beings. So, so there's no good or bad AI. It's just software. It's like asking me, Thomas, is Microsoft PowerPoint scary? It's just software. It's what you do with it that makes it scary.
I think it is a new level of mental development of every person. And that's why somebody are excited and inspired by artificial intelligence and these grand, fantastic possibilities which are opened with using of artificial intelligence. And there are a lot of people, not even aged people, by young people who are scared by influence of artificial intelligence and how to teach people how to avoid this resistance in using artificial intelligence, in using innovation.
You bring up some really good points. So if you go back several decades ago, right after World War II, the mentality of people all over the world were, we have to rebuild our country. We have to dig in and rebuild society. And people were hungry. And people were saying, let's try new things. There's opportunities everywhere, right? Because the worst was over. So society's culture on a global basis was much more innovative, much more energy. Anything's possible. And since in the last few decades, we have become very complacent. We're very happy to have our job. And I'm starting my job at, say, 9 o'clock, and I go home at 5 o'clock. I don't want to change my day. Don't mess with my day. And so because we are now at a mental state where we're much more complacent and relaxed, when AI comes, we want the AI to extend our relaxation. What's actually happening is the AI is saying, you know, back then when people had energy and their ideas were creative, well, this is that time slot for them again. So that was their time slot. Creativity, then we became complacent, and now we're back to the most creative people with the AI are going to create new societies, new questions, new startups, new governments. Oh, wow. So what AI does is going to benefit those people who want to do more and be more. And if you just want the AI to make sure that you can work less and sleep longer, it'll help you to do that. But the other people who are really starting to do things, you're going to start seeing society change and you're not going to be part of that change. And it's not the AI's fault. right? So good point. You brought up a very good point. Yeah, this is the time. So people, this is the time to remember that day where you said, when I always tell people, do you remember the day you graduated high school, or if you graduated college, you got your diploma and you're like, yes, I could conquer the world. This is that day again. Everybody has that moment one more time. I don't care if you're just graduated or if you're 65 and you graduated 40 years ago, who cares? This is your moment where you could conquer the world again. And that's what AI has brought. It's brought that moment to everybody on the planet. Here we are. Let's go, baby. Let's go. This is that moment.
And every time you have to remember about reskilling, relearning, and finding a new personal opportunity. I think it is real the time of long life learning, and artificial intelligence will be something like a pusher to go ahead every time.
So when people say reskilling, I want to be very clear. A lot of people say that the opportunities in artificial intelligence is to learn how to code artificial intelligence. I don't preach that. The opportunities in artificial intelligence are the people who say, how do I use this to fulfill my dream idea? To give it a metaphor, to relate it to what I'm saying, look at the internet. When the internet first started, everybody said, oh, this is the biggest thing. You know what you should do? You should learn how to make a website. That's going to be the greatest job in the future. Is making a website the biggest thing that came out of the internet? No. But when the internet just started, everybody said, yeah, you got to know how to make a website. You make a lot of money. We're at those first days of artificial intelligence, and what are we telling people? You have to reskill yourself, and you have to learn how to program artificial intelligence. We're saying the same thing. And for me, we're just repeating the same thing, which means that the big opportunity is, with AI, the big opportunity is the most inquisitive, innovative, curious person. Them with this AI that can answer the question, that combination this is so big for everybody, but you don't have to program. That's not the opportunity. Remember the days of early internet. The people who program HTML and program websites in HTML, they became programmers. And then you have people like Jeff Bezos. He built Amazon, right? You have Bill Gates. You have the founder of every startup since then who made, and you have still people who are programming websites. Do you want to program websites, or do you want to be one of those people, right? Here we are at AI. Do you want to program AI, or do you want to be one of those people? That's my point.
Thank you. Very confident explanation, Thomas.
Thank you.
Very interesting question. Regarding Elon Musk, it's clear, it's definite. So how should we attitude to the Elon Musk invention of Neuralink? What is it for humankind, for mankind?
Well, for those people who don't know what Neuralink is, Neuralink puts a small, it connects your brain to a microchip, and they put in thousands of lines that are so small you can't see them, and it will connect the brain to a chip, and the chip is connected to an AI. So if you have, let's say, Parkinson's and your hand shakes, the AI chip will say, okay, your hand's shaking up, now move it down, your hand's shaking down, move it up, and the end result, your hand is steady. So it's going to counter diseases, conditions. Even he talks about how if a person is paralyzed from the waist down, how potentially the chip can remind the body how to move the right leg, left leg, and the person can walk again. So this has huge advantages. But we have to remember, Neuralink and Elon Musk is only the first, the very first. There are going to be many more companies coming with this type of technology. And so the human machine interface is coming. And the question you have to ask yourself is whether or not you want to be a part of that, because we're not going to be able to stop that. Obviously, if someone has gotten hurt, someone you love is paralyzed, I think in that situation, that person or that family, that person who say, we want that person to walk again, please, give them the chip, right? So this is big for mankind. This is big for people who are hurt, who can't see, who can't hear. Beautiful. Thank you for this technology. And all the competitors will come who will make it better and better and better. But the question is, if you don't have any of those conditions, do you still want to have a chip and an AI in your brain? Now, that's the interesting question. We're not there yet, but that's going to be a question that in a few years, you may have the option, if you have enough money, to connect your brain to an AI. And that's interesting. So, yeah, that's really interesting. That's very interesting.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Thomas, a question. What question would you ask Steve Jobs if you can possibility to meet him?
What question I would ask Steve Jobs?
It's very interesting.
It's not the question. I've watched so many Steve Jobs videos and his simplicity of how he broke down what Apple was. Apple wasn't a PC company or a computer company. It was a lifestyle that meant something to people. He broke it down to the very essence of it. So I guess I would ask him, if he didn't mind, to repeat to me, how can I see life from its very essence? The very beginning, the most rudimentary part of life. How can I go through my whole life and see from that perspective? I think I would love to hear how he would answer that. He's amazing. He's amazing. He proves every marketer is wrong. He proved every people who present and say, let's market this, let's talk about our technology. Steve Jobs made Apple amazing because he says, we're going to change your life. We're going to make you connect with other people. Beautiful, beautiful.
Somebody consider that Steve Jobs was about idea, about project, about gadget, and Tim Cook, unfortunately, about money, about reputation, maybe.
Steve Jobs touched people through technology. I'll never forget a story where Steve Jobs said that one of the most important things that ever happened to him was he took a calligraphy class, a class on how to write letters, right? And he did that years before Apple, way before Apple. When he couldn't get a job, he said, let me take this calligraphy class, because he had to take an elective in school. He just had to take some course for 1 or 2 points in college. So he took a calligraphy class. That calligraphy class was the reason why he learned design, and the design of Apple and Apple computers, the keyboard, the touch, the feel. Steve Jobs used every meeting, every moment in his life, and put it all together and put it into this beautiful company called Apple. That's a very interesting guy. Imagine if we didn't take life for granted. You know, we take it for granted. We go to work, I'm at the cantina. Okay, this guy spilled coffee on me. But if you look at their life differently, say everything has a purpose.
I think it will be very interesting communication. You and Ken Siegel, he is the ex-creative director of Apple, and he was for 12 years in the team of Steve Jobs, and he was very upset when Johnny Ive left the company, and his foreseen was about a new, not optimistic period of Apple history as well.
John Ive was another one of these different thinkers, questioning everything. You need, if you're serious about your company to be innovative, you need to have, if you can find more than one, it would be great if you have 2 or 3. And then you have to give them the power to talk and to question everything, and the organization has to react to their questioning. You can't tell them, shut up and sit in the corner. It's going to drive your organization crazy. It's going to increase your costs. It's going to extend your time frame to come into production and commercialization. But what's going to be created, it's going to be beautiful. Always. It's just going to be painful.
Yeah,
so we need more people like that. It's just those people are very hard to be married to.
There was the last question for today.
Yeah.
What is your message to Ukrainian businessmen today?
Number one, look very much forward to this conference that's coming up. It's going to be fantastic. That's my first message. And then number two is to, this is their moment. This is the moment. Do you remember when you were a kid and you were playing with your friend and anything was possible? This is that moment again. If you're in a job, you're very proud of what you're doing, but there's a part of you that's saying, you know, if I could do it all over again, I would do this. Or if I had more time, I would do that. This is your moment. Artificial intelligence, technology, this inflection point is your moment now. And so as Ukrainian men, women, this is your moment. Just take the step. Don't worry about it. A little bit scary, but this is your moment. I promise you. Enjoy it.
Guys, this is your moment. Thank you. 30 minutes, and we have talked about everything I wanted. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you for your time. We do appreciate your time and opportunity to communicate with you. We are eager, and we hope that we can see you in November 27th. I really hope, and I'm looking forward to see you in Kyiv on one stage with our speakers. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and I hope so. We'll see what happens with this crazy world we live in today. Yeah.
Crazy, but very interesting world and very interesting moment. Really fantastic moment.
Absolutely, absolutely. You take care, okay? Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Stay safe, and hugs from our company, from Kyiv, from Ukraine.
Big hug to everybody. Stu hug.
Yes.
Bye.
Many hugs. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.